As the presidential inauguration approaches, tensions are clearly running high among some of Washington D.C.'s key political figures, particularly within the current administration. Despite being in the final days of their tenure, President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris continue to face rumors of growing friction between them. This unease was recently on display during the funeral of former President Jimmy Carter, where the strained relationship between Harris and First Lady Jill Biden was so noticeable that it caught the attention of social media users. It's not just the Bidens who seem to be dealing with tension, however. The incoming vice president, along with her family, may also be experiencing some frosty dynamics with the Vances, the family set to move into the Naval Observatory as the new second family. On January 20th, J.D. and Usha Vance, along with their 3 children, will be relocating to the Naval Observatory, the official residence of the vice president. This mansion, which has housed the second family since the 1970s, is currently occupied by Kamala Harris and her husband, Doug Imhoff. Despite President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump sitting down for a post-election discussion, it seems that Harris has not extended the same courtesy to the Vances. Rumors suggest that Kamala Harris isn't particularly keen on meeting the incoming second family, and there's been no effort from her to give them a tour of the residence. Interestingly, Harris herself didn't receive a formal tour of the Naval Observatory when she moved in back in 2021. At that time, there was also no meeting with then Vice President Mike Pence, which may have been due to the political climate under Donald Trump, who was infamously reluctant to accept his election loss. Harris' reluctance to extend the same gesture of goodwill to the Vances could be attributed to several factors, including the contentious political climate and the less-than-friendly comments made by J.D. Vance just days before Election Day. During a campaign rally in Pennsylvania, Vance mocked Harris, suggesting that a presidency under her leadership would lead to World War III, which certainly didn't help to foster any goodwill between the two. While Biden and Trump were able to meet post-election, Harris, who is not engaged in the same kind of divisive rhetoric, doesn't seem as eager to extend such pleasantries, especially given the history between her and the Vances. In fact, just before the election, J.D. Vance made headlines with his inflammatory comment, which likely soured any chances for friendly relations. Given that Biden and Trump found common ground, it's not hard to understand why Harris might not be in the mood to offer the same gesture to the Vances, especially when considering the past political tension. Ultimately, while the situation is certainly tense, it's also a reflection of the broader political landscape and the personal dynamics at play within the highest offices of the land. As the Vances prepare for their new role, it remains to be seen whether these strained relationships will have a lasting impact on their tenure.